Welcome to the Youth Pastors Are Pastors Too podcast, recorded in Central Texas, broadcasting to the world. Join your hosts and their weekly guests for insight, advice, guidance, and ideas to help your ministry flourish and help you take care of yourself. Now, with a combined 35 years of ministry experience, your hosts, Jacob Taylor and Jeremy Helms.
You know, I ended up the last episode telling you that we would record next week if you fixed your microphone.
Yes, I recall.
And it is now Thursday. And I guess
And look what I got in the mail.
Yes, we have upgraded your microphone, and thanks to FedEx, it was delayed. You sound better.
Very much so. Well, thank you.
You don't look better, but you sound better.
I don't think a microphone can do that.
Well, they do say you have a face for radio.
Oh. Special shout out to JT Money for shipping this amazing new microphone, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
You sound a whole better. You sound a whole lot better. I mean, and you mentioned it earlier, like before we started recording, that if you listen to like our first episode, and then you listen to hopefully this one, depending on how it turns out, but the quality is good. I don't know about the if they're good or not, but it's up there.
We were going home one night, and Landon and I were in the car, and I was fiddling on the Spotify, listening to the different podcasts, and I pulled one up from the Keith Kilpatrick interview. You remember that guy, Keith Kilpatrick?
Yeah, that guy's a
clown. And you remember him? Yeah. So, anyways, just it was like we were talking in a cup, It was so terrible. And it's like, man, we had some pretty good content back then. And it's almost like, do we need to redo those shows? Because I think right now we got some pretty good quality sound and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Should we give Johnny Knowlton a call? He's at a new church now, so we could just start over. Just delete all the episodes. Don't delete the graphic because it took us a year to get it to what it is now.
Thank you, Apple
and Garrett. Here's your shout out, Garrett. Garrett Gardner Music. He will help you with sound systems and lead your worship at DNL all at the same time.
He's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So quality is up. That means we have to record more, and hopefully we will be able to do this every Monday instead of Thursday, because it's a little late in the week. It's Easter week.
It is Easter week.
Got a Passover Seder tonight. I came in the office late just because of that. Technically, I'm not on the clock yet, but I will be in here shortly. But I showed up early so we can record an episode since you are now set up. I noticed that you didn't brush your hair before we got on camera.
That is brushed.
Is it?
Yes, I fixed my hair.
You purposely fixed your hair that way.
You don't think this is like a cool do?
Maybe.
Well, that's why you're wearing a hat, because what did you do to your hair?
I need a haircut. That's why I'm wearing a hat.
Jacob usually rolls that ball fade.
Exactly. High top.
Man, it looks sharp too.
But I went a month because I went switched jobs, so my paychecks were I went basically a month without a paycheck. So I was like, I got to cut costs everywhere, and then I decided not to get a haircut because I typically get it every 2 weeks. So I was like, I'll just wait. And then this past weekend, I finally get paid. I decided to go fishing all weekend instead. So priorities. But I am scheduled to get a haircut tomorrow morning before I come back into the church. So
just for historical record, how many fish did you catch?
That is none of your business.
But you enjoyed the water, didn't you?
I caught nothing. Saw a lot on the fish finder. I just couldn't get didn't find. I saw some things. I'm thinking they're catfish just by the size of the. I don't know what you call that. The curvature on the fish finder, but
Yeah.
it was. They couldn't get to them. That was like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah.
But I ran into the crappie, which if you haven't had crappie, that's good food.
Is it really?
It is.
It has just such a crappy name, though.
Let me make sure I get the last one. I didn't label my board.
Oh my gosh, we talked about this last time.
But
last episode we were going to label the drop-in soundboard, and no.
I wrote down I typed it down, so it's on my screen right now, but I forgot. I don't know. Your joke came across as not funny.
Well, no, I know. I mean, that was a perfect opportunity for a drop-in.
This one, the cricket one, is better.
Whatever.
Yeah, so I saw a bunch of crappie on the fish finder, and my buddy Cody, he was out on the lake with us too, and I called him, and he came over. He has a live scope on his boat now, and he said he could see.
Tell me exactly what that does, because it sounds intricate.
Dude, Cody's boat, from when we started fishing together till now, is one of the most high-tech things I've ever seen.
Wow.
Sorry, it's like a $8,000 boat, but he probably has like, I don't know, $8,000 of equipment just on it now.
Wow.
So he has a fish finder. He's a 7-inch Helix 6 with a side view Hummingbird, which is that's what I put on my kayak. You have to look it up, but I put a Helix 5 on my kayak. Hummingbird Helix 5, mainly because they actually can connect to your Minn Kota trolling motor, which is a brand of trolling motor, and that's the kind I have in mine.
No joke.
But I couldn't afford the Helix, the right one to connect, because I'm on that student pastor, associate pastor salary, so
yeah.
And then a live scope. Cody has a Garmin live scope. Basically, it's like a fish finder, but it's live. Like, on a fish finder, it's mounted underneath your boat, and it you basically just see like little waves of where the fish are. And then on a live scope, it's kind of the same concept, but it's live. Like you can drop your lure in, and you can actually see it drop down and then you can basically put your lure right in front of the fish.
Wow.
It's intense. It's extremely expensive, so I probably never, unless, I hit that lottery, and by then I won't be fishing out of my kayak.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people call it video game fishing, because you just sit there, and you can actually turn the transmitter to different sides of the boat, so you can see what's around it. And he was using it when I found the crappie on my fish finder, and then I called him, and he came over, and he scanned it, but he's like, I can't get these things to bite. And then I go home, and then the next day these people were catching limited out on crappie.
No way.
I'm Decker. I'm like, how? Like, one, my kayak couldn't handle that. If I wouldn't know where to put them. It's not enough room. But
yeah. Listen, if you're just tuning in, this is Youth Pastors Are Fishermen too. So we're so glad that you joined us today.
That's funny. You know what I'm going to do?
Come on, man.
That might be the funniest joke you made since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Enough about me.
Holy
I am
holy
going
moly.
Since typically my day off is on Friday, but since it's Good Friday, and I'm gonna take Monday off, and I'm gonna get the old kayak back out. And
nice.
I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I may stick to Lake Bastrop just to do a little bass fishing, or if those crappie maybe I can go get some crappie and have it before I have surgery next week. So
Oh man, Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob has that old professional softball injury that he has to deal with. So
Yeah. It was a hard reality check that I'm not as young as I used to be.
yeah,
But
I think there's a country song about that.
yeah, I am that I once was. Anyways,
Something like that.
you're not here to hear me sing. Yeah, I have surgery next week to fix a torn bicep tendon and a labrum in my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So my softball days may or may not be over. They said it all depends on how you heal. So
Yeah.
but my fishing days are up because I just got a kayak, a very high tech kayak.
Yeah, it's less rowing than you'd think. So as you know, as a listener, don't think that Jacob's out there rowing this kayak around. Okay, and now he could, but
I
he's
could.
not.
I the other day I had to because I got caught up in some weed, like the seaweed, and it wrapped around my propeller.
Oh no!
And the cool thing about the Minn Kota is that it automatically shuts down if it feels any resistance, so you're not like replacing
wow.
anything. And so I had to paddle my way out and then pull up the motor and clean it out, and smooth sailing after that. So
There you go. There you go. Well, very cool. Well,
what
you want
about?
to get to the topic? What do you think?
I mean, we can. I was going to ask how you were doing. Like, I mean, enough about me. This podcast is not about me.
Stop it! Stop it! We're having fun either way.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weeks where there's so much going on that we don't, we didn't really discuss a topic. We're just going to talk about certain things we're going to do. Like we're trying to implement or not implicate. That's criminal stuff.
Implicate. You've been listening to too many criminal podcasts.
I've been listening to a
other.
lot of court podcasts the last couple of days, just trying to figure out law stuff. Not that not because of me, just trying to understand the law.
Just some new avenues there to listen to. So you've got some different vocabulary words.
Yeah.
Some implementation that's
a good word.
We're looking at doing. Just briefly. Just man, get ready for Easter. Head down and.
What are you doing,
dude?
What are you doing for Easter? What's your church doing for Easter?
We're doing just a big worship service. Yeah, he's and I don't want to spoil anything that Tim might be doing, but he's going to do something completely music wise on stage. Normally it's just a regular band, but he's going to add something,
a
kind of a throwback. Look at that, a choir. He's going to add a choir.
Nice.
He added a new presentation feature also to the sanctuary. We've kind of been working on that for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I got to be on the scissor lift and do all that stuff. So. I forgot how afraid of heights I was. Maybe it was I think it's a 26-foot cherry picker or whatever. But I just oh gosh, those things, and then they sway, and it's like if I'm up there and I'm working, I actually have to grab the beam, and that just it gives me some type of peace while I'm up there trying to run wires. But then again, if that cherry picker falls and I'm holding onto the beam, I don't know if I can hold on very long. That's my thought. I'm like, what are you going to do? Like get a ladder and try to save me, or should I just let go and break 2 legs, break an arm? I don't know. I'm probably not going to die, but either way, it's a little frightening.
Well, remember when it comes to your life or death, you may have some strength in there that you wouldn't typically have.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Do you remember that time? I don't know if you ever saw him. When we were at Highland Lakes, we had, you remember that old, it was like a lineman's truck that had the little box. And,
yes.
It was old. It was like a 90s model. But I was one of the only ones that knew how to drive it because it was like the high-low 18-speed truck. And I wouldn't say I knew how to drive it. I just figured it out. And you remember we used to have all these volunteers come in the off season, and for some reason, the director at the time wanted a floodlight down at the Prairie Garden,
Oh yeah.
And I had to, so I drove that truck up there, and uh, this I don't forget what they called them.
Lift bucket.
Well, no, the volunteers, like the
Oh,
campers on a
like camper.
mission.
Yeah, campers on mission or something.
So he was like, "All right, get me up there," because he was an electrician. He was a retired electrician, and he was like, "I'm gonna put this light up there." And I was like, "Okay, well, here's how you control it." He's like, "No, no, no, I want you to control it and take me up there." So me and this other guy squeeze into this bucket and go, I don't know, 40, 50.
You were both in the bucket.
Yeah, and we and like 50 feet, and like off to the side, and that thing just swayed back and forth. People were driving, like Clay Albright drove by, and he was laughing because I mean, we were like, it was like two people wedged in this tiny little bucket, and I had my back to him, he had his back to me, and we were just like rubbing backs, and all I was doing was standing there while he was like mounting this floodlight, and it was one of the probably most awkward thing I did at Highland Lakes when I was there, and till this day I think about that every time I see one of them electric like lineman trucks drive by the highway.
And you survived.
I survived. Never.
We survived Highland Lakes camp.
Yeah, me and that guy never spoke after that because it was it was weird. It was like, you should have taken me to dinner first or something.
Holy moly, Batman!
So I thought it was.
Well, listen. Well, listen, we both are currently student pastors, and we both have students, and one thing I always see that can be uncomfortable and or an obstacle that you need to overcome, and that's welcoming new students. And it's that new student factor when that new student walks in the door for the first time. And, I think the desire of both of our hearts is, and every youth pastor's heart is for that student to feel welcomed, to feel like they can find a place, that they can come and feel safe, that they can learn about Jesus, and that they can build a relationship with other friends. And, just all those things, right? And I think as youth pastors, part of our job is to begin to instill that hospitality trait, that welcoming trait, into some of our more outgoing and friendly students. Not saying they're not all outgoing and friendly, but just that idea that it's not only is it our job as youth pastors to welcome that student and to bring them into the group, but also that the students do it too, right?
Yeah.
Because I have seen, this is a real life scenario where there was a brand new person. They come in, and in my situation, it was they set their own chairs up for worship, and this person set their chair up right here in the middle, and no one set their chair around that person. And so I had to literally lean over to some of my students and say, "Hey, could you invite that new person to maybe sit in your row?" And after it was brought to their attention, they went ahead and they invited that person to join their row. But there was just this awkward. I looked out, and they were by themselves completely. So you see what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, students that by themselves, they may not come back because they're like, oh no, I don't have any friends. It's awkward. I sat by myself, and some people want to sit by themselves, like introverted people. Like when I walk into a crowd, I don't want to be the first thing. I don't want 500 people coming up to me and be like, hey, come sit with us. I'm like, I don't know you, but so I'm old enough to push past that. Like that's how you have to, figure that out as an adult. You can't just be like, or even a pastor, you have to have like shut off your introvert and be a semi extrovert. That's what Keith told me one time. He's like, I'm not introverted, but I'm not extroverted. I'm like, oh, so you're a weirdo. But he's like, no, in this position, you have to be extroverted, and kids haven't, if they're that way, then they haven't figured, like they have no reason to yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It definitely helps
Um,
if
an, an,
other people invite you in.
yeah, yeah, and I think another scenario that you want to avoid is that awkward. I had some students run at me one time and just like scream, "There's a new person here! There's a new person here! Oh my gosh, Jeremy, there's a new person here!" And I'm like, uh, tone it down and let's don't react that way, please.
Yeah, that person definitely not coming back. You made them stand out. That's funny.
So, anyways, just beginning to instill that welcoming and hospitality within, whether it's I think for me, I think instilling that in a certain group at first,
Yeah.
maybe some of them more older, more mature, those that understand, boys and girls. That are going to go and be that kind of that first impression of our student group, and so that's kind of what I'm working at just building the culture of being welcome, and even take it to the next level and just reaching out level too. So like whether you have a group of 15 or you have a group of 40, you notice if so and so hadn't been there for a few weeks. Well, if you notice that, then maybe you ought to reach out. Well, what if one of your students in your group reached out to that student that wasn't there
Yeah.
for a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
So,
Let me ask you this: what characteristics? I know you said older youth, but like, what else? Like, what are you looking for? Like when I know you're in the early process of like putting this together, and I've seen the email you sent out just to look over it. But and what characteristics of a student are you looking for to be that person?
well, so far, I've actually asked introverts and extroverts to be a part of it, and I think either way, it works. And even on the fly, I've just gone up to students before and then said, "Hey, can you just go over there and introduce yourself? I really would appreciate it." And so I think there's a little bit of, I think ultimately anybody can do it,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just a matter of beginning to teach it and then let it trickle down. So I would say identifying, like, for me, I think what I'm doing is I'm identifying my leaders who can do it, like who are naturally the leaders in the group. And then from that, it'll trickle down to the rest of the group. Because at that point, right, you you got you don't have to, everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's doing it at that point. You have created this culture of welcoming and hospitality and just being a friendly group, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the angle right now that I'm pursuing, and it seems to work. No one has looked at me and said, "No, I'm not going to go introduce myself to that person." No one's told me that they won't go. And so I think that's the empowerment, or even just the reminder or the coaching, because at some point they didn't learn to do that, right?
Yeah.
They didn't learn to be that welcoming person. Now they might have done it in public school settings or in other social settings. They did it at one point, or they were that new person, but they don't know how to like implement that. And so yeah, I think it's just, to me, it's identifying the leaders and then praying it trickles down to the rest of the group.
What
So
kind of training are you going to give these students? Are you going to have training? I assume.
yeah, definitely gonna do some training, and the training starts with it's all about connection, right? We need to connect with the students, and to me that starts with introducing yourself, and it also goes to remembering that student's name. And you know what, for students, I think it's okay for them. Hey, I forgot your name. I know you were here last week, but I mean, if they do remember the name, it's like so much better, right?
Yeah.
But and then just connecting with, hey, do you read books? Do you like movies? Do you like TV shows? And then so just, I think you have to teach that.
Mhm.
You have to teach your students, your leaders, how to engage in conversation. And then once they've engaged in that conversation, then next time you see them, then you encourage them to go ahead and do the follow up with that, right? Just,
Yeah.
hey, I'm so glad you're back, Lizzie. I'm so glad you came back. I'm just glad you're here. You have any good? Did you read anything fun last week, or don't pick on somebody, but if they've got an injury or whatever, but how did you? What happened? can you tell me about it? Or then the next week, are you feeling better? Does the doctor say you're going to get out of that cast soon, or whatever? And so just engaging that connection. So I think instilling connection, teaching the students how to do that, and then just helping them to begin to identify when they need to reach out, and when it's a good opportunity, whether that's a text or an email, or you see them that following meeting, whether it's Wednesday or Sunday, right?
Are you like passing out like connection cards too? Like,
Yeah. So what we do is when we have a new student, we have pass them a connect card, and we take a little bit of information from them, and then I give them what I call a connector card. And that connector card is super simple. It actually is the logo on one side, and then on the other side it's a QR code, and it just pushes them to our website. And then from our website, it's got information about the group. It's got all of our social media links. And then on that same connector card, it has our service time. So it's, Sunday 9 a.m., Wednesday at 6:30. So they know they have all the information right there. It's a little business card, and hopefully they connect with us.
you know,
So
that online youth conference that we watched, they promoted, I forget what it was called, but it was, and I was thinking about, I really have to look into it, and I talked to Kevin about it, just kind of give him like, the benefit of it, but it's like a text message program, like a thing that you say, okay, I was gonna put it on cards and pass it out to new students, or even existing in it. It's like a text message system that it it sends back, hey, welcome to Manchac Baptist, and we're glad you're here. If you want more information on like children's program, push one or text back one. If you want more information on student ministry, push two. If you want to know about our dodgeball tournament next week, push three, and they reply, and it gives them all that information. And it can also put in like a registration link and all that stuff. I was really thinking about doing that. I just have to walk Kevin through it and be like, this is a good way to like advertise like certain things.
but and I mean, it's an automated text,
Yeah.
but I mean, how many automated texts do we deal with today?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just become natural. And if you get an automated text, cool. And the more information that you can get in their student's hand and your parents' hands, the better, right?
Yeah.
So that's I love that idea.
Yeah. We had a group of three sisters. Two of them were twins, but they go to separate schools, which I thought was weird. But apparently one of them's like super like gymnastic, like like travels the country to do gymnastics. But
wow,
so she goes to like a private school. But I had one of the our students go to them because they went to the same one of them went to the same school. So I was able to get their mom's email, and I was able to reach out that afternoon, and they've been coming back ever since. And she's like, no, we've been visiting churches for months, and nobody's reached out afterwards just to check in. Like all I did was say, hey, here's some events coming up. If you have any questions on what we're doing on Wednesdays or Sundays, or even Nerf night that we're having coming up, then just reach out. You have my email. I gave her my cell phone number, and they've been coming back ever since. And man, if you have students doing that, like just getting some kind of connection or phone number,
it's that relationship, that building. You're totally right. You're totally right. We have this database or whatever.
yeah.
And I ran a report the other day, and I just looked at have they been here the last 4 meetings? And when I say meetings, Sunday, Wednesday, have they missed 4 meetings in a row? And I can pull all that data. Dude, I sent like 12 emails, and I have since seen at least 3 of those kids pop back in. We get that life's busy, and we get that, you might not be at every single meeting, but if you get an email and you know that you're sending that connection, like whether it's the youth pastor or it's my connect team that might send that out, peer to peer.
Yeah.
Man, there's something to it. Just like you said, we have to follow up, we have to follow through, we have to love on these people, because ultimately we're building relationships, and these relationships hopefully are going to last for a long time.
Man, we have
That's the
the same program, but it's all manual, so I have to do roll every Sunday, and
yeah.
I'm terrible at it. And
Mm,
so I get emails saying, "Oh, the student hasn't been here in 6 weeks." I'm like, "No, he was here last week," and it's because I don't do the roll.
yeah.
But I can keep a pretty good mindset, and students are
Hmm.
like, this is something I didn't experience at the other church, is that the students here, they're like real noticeable, like when someone's not there. Like, oh, we
Yeah.
haven't seen uh, a random name, Sarah, in a couple of weeks. And they're like, I'll be like, oh, well, that's good observation. I'm going to reach out. Like,
Hmm.
I have one student that we haven't seen since Disciple Now, and I'm like, I need to reach out to him. I don't notice those things because, as a student pastor / associate pastor, my Sunday mornings are like crazy busy, so
Yeah.
I don't notice certain things, and so just to get your students involved, that's a genius idea. And I liked
Yeah.
that you sent me the email, like, of your, or was it email or text to your adult volunteers, of your plan, and I was like, that's I may have to try to make something up like that. But
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. So however we connect, let's connect, right?
yeah,
Man, what you're working on something right now. Tell me a little bit about what you're working on.
uh, I'm working on a summer intern program. Uh, so last year we had a individual that she basically just volunteered her time through the summer, and really just was there to do things, and college student, former student of the student ministry, and I took her to camp as an intern. That's the only way I could get her because she wasn't old enough. Um, like, you had to be 19 to be a sponsor at camp, and she was only 18, but she had already finished a year of college.
Yeah.
So I took her under the title of intern, and so she had to be my TLC, which is like your team lead help, whatever, because
Mm-hmm.
we did the mission thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back, and on our way back from camp, I asked her, "It's like, would you be interested in like doing this all summer if I could get it paid?" And so
Mm-hmm.
our budget came around at the end of the summer. That's when we start working on our year budget, because our fiscal
Mm-hmm.
year is from January to December. So uh, our first draft has to be done in like November or something. So when we got back from camp, I started working on that, and I started asking, "Hey, can we do this? Is this possible? Can I put this in the budget?" And everybody said, "Just give it a try. We'll see if the church approves it," and they did. And so uh, I've started putting together a program uh, because I don't want her just to be. I don't want the position to just to be, "Oh, I need you to do this, this, and this." I want the intern, whoever it is, uh, to actually learn how church works. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, between the budgeting and planning events, teaching, like, how do I do this, um, and not just in student ministry, but I also have it set up to where she's going to spend um, 30 minutes or an hour talking with everybody's in the church that's on staff. Like, she's going to spend time speaking to Kevin about what he does and how he does it, and his thought process. She's going to spend 30 minutes to an hour with Lisa as an office manager to see how she does it and how she plans it and everything that she does. Children's director. We have two children's directors, and I hope that she gets to spend time with them and kind of just figure out everything out, and hopefully one day that, if in the future that ministry may be her calling, or their calling. Sorry, I've already hired the intern, so it's a her this year.
Mm-hmm.
But so but in the future, it doesn't always have to be the same person. But yeah, this week I basically put a booklet together. Basically, I called it the summer intern. Oh, that's not it. I was trying to pull it up.
The intern program.
Basically guidebook, and it goes through like the schedule and the goal of the whole thing is not just to have an assistant, because our summers are busy. Like we were talking about in a staff meeting yesterday that all the other programs in the church kind of slow down during the summer, but the student ministry is like ramped up. Like we plan an event for every week. We try to hang out all summer, like 2 or 3 times throughout the week. During the day, the option is going to be to come hang out with me here at the church now that I'm full time. Yeah. And it's nice to have that assistant, but I also want to develop a leader. And we're going to go through a book together. I'm going to pull it up so I can recommend it. But yeah, I found a book that I kind of briefed over. It's called Lead Strong, Developing Character for Ministry Leadership by Philip Rosmanson. And so not only is that going to help me, because I have to read it too, develop other people to be leaders, so that the person's going to develop into a leader for the church. So it's something something I've always wanted to do, but never had the ability to do. And Mancheck has really got behind it. And so if you have any advice on how to do that, and I would really greatly appreciate that I will take any advice on it. Any things that you do with your interns, if you have them. If you don't, then you can always reach out to me and I can give you some advice. But like I said, this is the first summer I've officially had the ability to do it. And it has a real program. Like I ordered her a tiny desk. Man, I was looking, this is funny. I was like, how funny it would be to get like a school desk and put it in my office. It was cheaper for me to buy a computer desk than a school desk.
No, because they're vintage now.
Well, not even if they're vintage. It's just that they're like $150, and that's without the chair.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
And I was like, dang, I thought it would be funny, but I ain't spending money on that. So I bought like an IKEA desk that her first responsibility when she gets here is to put that desk together. Just like everybody that starts a new job at a church, the first thing you do is put your desk together and then decorate it. She can't decorate it because it's going to be in the corner of my office because nobody touches it.
Is your fireplace over there?
It is. My fireplace is there. I don't know where it's going to go, but I might need to move a bookshelf. So,
well, and I think your intern program, just getting to meet her last summer and work with her, there's more that relationship layer, right? She can connect with the students in ways that you can't connect with the students, whether it's interest or whether it's just that she's a female, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously males and females communicate differently and go through different things, and so just having her on board is going to help to develop and build those relationships. And I think that's a wonderful program you got there.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And I told her when I went through an interview with her. Like I took her to lunch and we went through a questionnaire because if I didn't feel like it was an official interview. If I felt like she wasn't really into it, then I was going to find somebody else. And she passed the colors, but I told her when that interview that this is our first like inaugural summer intern thing. So some things may work, but some things may not work. But she just has to bear with us, and I'm going to depend on her really on feedback on how we do it. And
that's great. I love that.
I trust her to do it. Like I said, she was a student here. Her parents come here, her grandparents come here. So I think it'll be fun. And she comes in about a little over a month. May 12th is
You believe it's already April 6th?
I know, and I'm like, dang, and I'm about to lose a week. And like,
Yeah.
I'm not even ready for summer. I have other things. I have a new soundboard coming in for the worship center, hopefully today or tomorrow, and like I'm just like, oh man, that's like it's almost summer. I don't have anything planned for summer yet, other than student camp and VBS.
Yeah.
But like our weekly things, I haven't. I mean, I dabbled in some things, but you know, trying to communicate with companies through email, non-existent.
Yeah.
It's real frustrating. So if you have a business like a trampoline park in Austin, South Austin, and someone emailed you, you should probably email back, because I'm bringing like 30 students, and that's a big. I need some advice and some answers before I do that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, maybe you should call them.
I hate talking on the phone, dude.
Sometimes you get those people that are like, hey, I'm just a texter. At the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to pick the phone up and call. So, anyways.
Yeah, that's why I tried to email, and I guess I can call them, but maybe I'll get that intern to do all my phone calls.
There you go. She can knock that out.
Yeah. So.
Well, Jacob, do we need to talk more about fishing, or you think we're good?
I could talk about fishing all day.
All right. Well,
yeah, I'm glad you got your mic situation fixed, and hopefully we could do this regularly. I won't be in office on Monday, so we may have to figure out a time on Tuesday, and then
okay.
I mean, I guess we could talk about this offline, but
we could. We
let the listeners know that I will, after Wednesday, after surgery, I won't be in until another week. So
yeah,
we may need to pop out 2 episodes next week.
All right. Well, I'm sure we can take care of that. And again, shout out to Jacob for this awesome new microphone, and Garrett Gardner Music. He can lead worship for you. And any other plugs that we need to plug?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of. Happy Easter. I don't want to date the episode, but happy Easter.
Well, we've already talked about.
Yeah, it's true. Happy Easter.
It's Thursday. We have a Passover Seder tonight. We have Good Friday service tomorrow. We have an extravaganza on Saturday, and then obviously we have Easter Sunday, and it's my mom's birthday on Sunday. So busy week actually.
And then Jacob will sleep on Monday.
I'm going fishing instead of sleeping. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then Tuesday I'll come in, we can record, and then I have surgery on Wednesday. So, what would be funny if we recorded an episode after as I came out of surgery.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
It'd be you talking, and I'm going.
Or you might say some random stuff.
It may get me in trouble. So.
Well, Jacob, let's plan on doing this next week then.
All right, and we don't have to worry about your mic.
Thank you for listening to the Youth Pastors Are Pastors Too podcast. Find us, rate us, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. If you want to see our ugly faces, look for us on YouTube. While you're at it, give us a like on Facebook. See you next week.